to this day, I don't know whether it was farmed out also to some other ABC stations, but it was the local man. Isn't it terrible? I can't recall his name. Nice man. Anyway, he happened to be a fan of my late night radio work. So he called me up one day and he said, I'm thinking of starting to carry wrestling matches. And he said, I like your work, your ad-libbing stuff. He said, would you have any interest in that? And I said, sure. Again, totally unqualified. I'd never done any real sports. And I didn't know anything about wrestling. I didn't know a step over toe hold from an arm scratch or whatever. But I said, oh, yeah, sure. You don't turn down work. You accept it, and then you hope in the 10 days you have available you can learn how to do what they hired you to do. So I did a smart thing. There was at the time a very good and long experienced wrestling announcer named Dick Lane. He was originally, I think, a B-movie actor, because to this day you can see him playing small parts in old movies. But he was the guy who started that phrase at peak moments of excitement, whoa-ho, Nelly. I still hear sports guys today yelling that if somebody scores a touchdown or whatever. So I simply watched Dick carefully. He did the wrestling matches on another station, and I made a remarkable and encouraging discovery. He didn't know much more about the human body or wrestling than I did, but he developed the gift of gab about it so smoothly over the years that I saw he was getting away with murder too, and I thought, heck, I can do that. So one night I reported for duty down at the old Ocean Park Arena, and I don't remember how long I did that, maybe 10 weeks, 13 weeks, 26 weeks, who cares? But it was great fun, and the wrestlers were very colorful people. They were not quite the wily freakos that exhibit themselves today with weird makeups and purple hair and stuff, but they were very colorful guys. I remember Baron Leone, who I had reason to suspect was not really a member of the Italian aristocracy, but he wore the long flowing tresses of a medieval philosopher, and he was a great artist of pantomime. For example, let me put this cup down. He would approach the referee before the match, and all by pantomime, inquire, would he perhaps be permitted to lay hands on his opponent and fling him to the topmost rafters? And the referee would engage in this same ridiculous. He'd go, no, none of that stuff. You have to stay in the ring at all times. And it was great comedy. I don't remember how long I was on the air with the wrestling matches. It could have been 2 hours a night. It was a long stretch. It had to be ad-lib. But I did a little preparation, first of all, in addition to watching the Dick Lane, shows to see somehow what it was done. I also wrote a few jokes that I thought might be useful. Now, that's a very tricky thing because I'll create a new circumstance here. Suppose I'm going to be on a show where somebody's going to bring in chickens. Okay, so I sit down on my typewriter and I turn my brain on and I write great jokes about chickens. But when I get to the theater, nobody brings in the chicken. It's all snakes. So what good did it do me to create? You can see what I'm getting at. I had jokes about this arm and the nape of your neck and the long hair and the tightness of the man's trunks or whatever. And on most nights, I found no opportunity to to bring them into the conversation, or the monologue, I should say. But after a few weeks, it got a little smoother. I realized I didn't have to be screamingly funny every other line. Just an occasional biggie was enough to keep the audience happy, at least the hip members of the audience. To this day, some people not only don't want to hear the questions about whether there is really a Santa Claus, they think that's un-American talk, they also don't want to hear the truth about professional wrestling. Now, there is such a thing in the world as real wrestling. It's in the college, the university, and the Olympic level. And it's an honorable sport. It goes back thousands of years. But it is also the dullest sport in the history of dullness, much less sport. Whereas professional wrestling is vaudeville. It's entertainment. It's rehearsed. Everybody agrees tonight you're the winner. And then in Cleveland on Tuesday, I'll kill you. It's a set-up thing, and it's great entertainment. But when I began to make little vague allusions to that, I began to get hate mail, really. And most of it from women, which is a pretty scary fact. Oh, yeah? Well, listen, mister, if you think that's so easy, let's say you get in the ring with the Buster, the whatever the hell,